All right, thanks, John. We're here with head coach Tony Elliott. Coach, feels good to win, especially over these first 5 games. You've been close. There were 3 games with a combined a loss total of 7 points. We all are aware of that. I know you're pleased with it, but were you pleased with the manner in which the team won the football game in the different periods of the game, resiliency, execution, things of that nature?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that obviously, when you look back at it, when we evaluate the film, we're going to critique and say we could have done better. But, man, let me tell you something. I'm not a win's a win, right? And they're hard to come by. And that's a good football team over there. They're very well coached. They're a prideful bunch, and they came in here, wanting to, do everything they could to prevent us from victory. And but there were a lot of things that you saw. We're down 10 points. We're down 10 points, and then we go up by what was it, 13-3, and then we end up 20-13 at the end of right there before the half, and then we only had 3 possessions in the second half. One, we're going down to score penalty. We have a turnover. We score, and then we have a chance right there to end the game with the ball in our hands. So a lot to be proud of, and just really, really proud of those young men in there. Man, it's been a long time coming. They've worked extremely hard. They've had to persevere through a ton of adversity, and I think that most people know what's on the surface, but behind the scenes, just the things that these young men have had to persevere through. Just extremely proud of them. So, man, hey, I don't care. Some people could say it might not be pretty, but a win's a win, and we needed a win. We got to win. The guys found a way versus a team that came in here to challenge us.
Coach, there were times in the game where there were 4th down decisions, and you made the decision to, Brosterhouse, took it under center and snuck and. Just were you trying to show your team, and sometimes in those decisions within the right context, that you want to be aggressive, and physical in those moments?
Right, definitely. There were a couple of 4th down situations where we needed points, so we had to kick, in the first half. You're in a tight ball game. Possessions are a premium. Again, we had 1 possession. I think they're in the 3rd quarter, and then going in the 4th quarter, we're on our 2nd possession. We had practiced that with Grady. He's a bigger guy. We put that package in. Had practiced. Felt like we had enough reps in it. But yeah, definitely the 4th and 1 and the 4th and 3, and Tony went and got it on 4th and 3. Laid himself on the line. But in different situations in the game, you want to be strategic. But I felt like down the stretch right there, man, we had to stay on the field. We had to finish with points to keep the ball away from William & Mary.
Last couple of things. Can you talk specifically about Tony Musket, because it was clear to the observers that he was kind of favoring the shoulder and was in some pain. Can you talk about his toughness and what you got from him?
I mean, I think you saw it. You saw the guy out there, and he's scrapping, he's battling. Didn't do a great job of protecting him. We got to go to work on that. That's the area we got to get better. We got to quit getting our quarterback hit. But man, this is a guy that's playing with a shoulder injury. He's persevering. He's giving everything that he has. He's running the football. Right, he's trying to win the game. So I think you saw just how tough and how much he cares about this football team, what a competitor that he is. And then right there in the situation where the 4th down, he reached for it, felt something in the shoulder, came out for a play, and obviously we're trying to figure out the severity of it, right? Because we got a young quarterback there that's kind of played his 4 games, and what you don't want to do is you don't want to burn a year for 1 play, right? So you don't want to put a guy in for 1 play. Now, if they're telling us from the tent that it's going to be an extensive amount of time, then Calandria was good. Hey, we're going with it. So it was managed, I thought, the right way. They told us in time it was 1 play. That's why you saw Grady in there, and then Musket was back out there. And then late in the game, obviously trying to go score there, but with your quarterback and you got loaded boxes, you're not going to run your quarterback in that situation. You're going to try and put it on the back of the OL and put it on the back of the running backs.
Final thing, cleaner game in terms of penalties and things that you saw?
Yeah, still some penalties that we can avoid. And again, we got to understand, the importance of eliminating those, because there was a big one down. We're getting ready to score a touchdown, right? And then we end up being 3rd and 12, and the next play, you never know what's going to happen. So we had less than we did the previous game, but still not where we need to be. And we got to go back to work helping the guys. We got to coach better, help them have a better understanding of situations so that we can eliminate some of those penalties.
Jeff and Greg and Mike.
There was a wild sequence at the end of the first half, starting with the Sparks punt, and then William & Mary's in the red zone. You get a takeaway, then Tony leads that drive, and you get the touchdown. Given that William & Mary was going to get the ball first in the 3rd quarter, how big was that whole sequence?
No, it's the middle eight. You know, we talk about the middle eight, and so prior to the bad punt, defense. You know, there's a penalty, so they're backed up. Man, defense 3 and out gets us the ball, and then we I think what do? We overthrow, we drop, and then we get sacked. All right, so now we gotta kick it away, and that's very uncharacteristic of Sparks, and we got to evaluate, see what happened there. But man, you're not expecting in that situation, right? You're trying to be aggressive, you're trying to play to get an extra possession to go score before you go into half, not just because William and Mary is getting the ball in the second half, but because you want to win the middle eight, and you got an opportunity there. You got 3 timeouts, and then we give it right back to them, and then we get the fumble, and so it was a crazy sequence. I'm just asking the boys, man, for my sake, man, let's not make it so hard. The first time we had an opportunity in a 2-minute drive, let's go score the first time and let the defense play as opposed to making it close.
Along those lines, at the end of the first half, second straight week, you go to Malachi in that late half situation. Why did you want to be aggressive there if you're not working out a couple plays earlier, and why is Malachi the top target?
Because just trying to score points, man. Trying to be aggressive. Knowing in particular the second time around, we know okay they're going to get the ball, and then we got the turnover. Defense did their job, man. Let's be aggressive there. And Malachi is a guy that is emerging, and I think people are starting to realize what he's capable of. And if you watch the majority of the game, they were shaded a safety over the top of him. Even though they were playing some man coverage, they were shading. And then if it wasn't man coverage, they were playing a 2 shell. But he made a play, and in that situation right there, so you're sitting there. It's 11 seconds on the clock, right? We don't have a timeout, right? We won't have a chance. It's 3rd and 1. Okay, we won't have a chance to spike it because if you try to get back on the ball, let's say you quarterback sneak, right? The clock's going to run out. You're not going to have enough time for it to get reset. And then the same thing, if you run the ball, more than likely the clock's going to run out because you got to have 3 seconds to be able to spike it. So the thought process there was, hey, in this situation, 1 shot at the end zone or out of bounds, and then we're going to kick the field goal and take the 3 points going into the half. And then they gave us one-on-one. Tony put a ball up there, and Malachi made a diving catch.
Sounds like you guys challenged the running backs to break more tackles, make plays like that. Harris kind of set the tone a little bit with kind of trucking that safety early in the first quarter. What did you like from the running backs today?
Yeah, so my challenge to the team, and I challenged them, pretty intensely this morning before we came to the stadium about where we are and what the expectations need to be in terms of performing. And I said, this is a team that comes in, I think they're just under 300 yards a game rushing. That's what they do. They run the football. And I said, hey, we got an opponent in here. Man, let's come out with the better rushing attack, right? Let's do a great job defensively of stopping their run game, and then let's get our run game going. And we were able to hit a couple big plays, but then I thought the backs, did a decent job of running through arm tackles. Still too many free hitters, guys turn loose in the backfield. Some of that is going to be, structurally, it's a challenge to get off to the second level, but overall, I thought the guys accepted the challenge to run the ball, and that's what we want to do. That's what we want our identity to be offensively. It sets the tempo for everything else, and just proud of the guys for being able to put it together against a team that is, one of the top defenses in the country at their respective level.
And in particular, did Harris, running with passion sounds like kind of his thing. Did he really answer that challenge?
I thought he did. I thought Kobe did as well. Tony did when he pulled the ball down. But it starts up front, So when you can get the backs going and you get them, through the line of scrimmage and onto the second level before they're touched, it's usually going to turn into, longer gains, and then you can play a little bit more aggressively because you're behind. You're in front of the chains, right, and not behind the sticks. So I thought in the first half, we were aggressive trying to throw the ball. We missed on a couple shots, man, right out the gate. First one in the game, we had him open. We had Malik open. We had a couple shots that we didn't connect on, but it all started with being able to run the football.
You
said it starts up front. There's some changes on the right side
Yeah.
of that O-line with John moving inside. Just quick evaluation of how that looked and what you liked about the O-line.
Yeah, it's going to be first we had 230 something yards, rushing, right? So obviously, anytime, I don't care who you're playing against, anytime you rush for more than 200 yards, right? The big boys up front are doing something. They're moving people around and giving you running lanes. Got to see what the situations were with the sacks. You're still giving up way too many sacks, and some of it is not all on the OL. Some of it is the quarterback stepping up too early or flush in the pocket a little bit too early. But that's where we got to get better. But pleased with the run game, but overall not pleased with the fact that we got our quarterback hit too much.
Coach, what did you see from Tony Muskett today as a leader on the field and off the field?
Oh man, he's a competitor. He's a warrior. Man, he's the leader of the football team. A guy that's playing injured. Probably gonna have to have surgery on that shoulder at the end of the season. Right? Could easily have done the easy thing and said, you know what, coach, I need to go ahead and fix my shoulder now and get a head start. Right? But here's a guy that said, no, coach, I'm playing. All right, and so he's practicing every single day with a hurt shoulder. He's playing with a hurt shoulder, and to be honest with you, it's probably going to hurt him the rest of the season. All right, it's not one of those deals where it's not going to fix itself. All right, so just his toughness, his passion, and his love for his teammates. He's a competitor, and what he showed you is he's a guy that it's not just wanting to win. He's a guy that needs to win, and that's why he does what he does.
Ann Parker and then Carolyn.
Yeah, Coach, was it the run game? Was it Tony? What did you see as the key to kind of piecing it all together today?
Just guys, doing their 111th, and I feel when we watch the tape, we'll see that we had more plays where we had 11 guys headed in the right direction, working together, as opposed to some of the previous games. So I don't know if it's any one thing as much as it is guys just saying, you know what, enough's enough. Being close, we don't want to be close anymore. We want to take that next step, and in order to do that, you don't have to do anything other than just do your job, play in and play out. And it's easier said than done, right? And a lot of people say it, but for 60 minutes, to be able to focus in when your body's tired, when you got somebody across from you, when things are moving fast, when you're trying to process adjustments, you're going with the momentum of the game, the ebbs and flows. But I was proud of the guys that I thought that they maintained their focus. And I never felt like we were satisfied, once we had a lead. Now, we didn't have some clean plays, but I felt like, the guys, made an effort to really, really focus, because there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be a lull in the game somewhere. And the teams that can consistently win at a high level are the ones that can manage the lull and not let it take over the team, that they battle against it and they find a way to flip the momentum back in their direction.
Yeah, and then obviously it's been a while since you guys last one. You've been through a lot. So how meaningful was this victory?
Oh man, it's huge. Obviously the record. I mean, I know nobody in that locker room, in this organization, right? Is excited or feels good about where we are, right? You got a group of folks that, realize the opportunities we didn't take advantage of, man, and we want to make sure that we capitalize on the ones going forward. But really, it's just confirmation for those guys in there, because they've worked extremely hard. As I said, there's a ton of adversity that they've been through that has been seen publicly, and then there's a lot of adversity that a lot of people don't realize. And the fact that they show up every single day, right? I'm also, that give you another thought. Shout out to the student body. I thought they showed up. That's the 3 home games, but man, they've showed up. They've been loud. They've been very supportive. So very, very appreciative of the students and the fans as well for showing up. I know it's not what any of us desire or expect, but I'm appreciative of them showing up. And that's what you guys. You got a football team that shows up every single day.
Tony, I talked to Zach Yarborough about his journey with breast cancer. I was speaking with you today. He's spoken to you before. How important is it to you to bring him in to speak to young men about his journey, and just to be able to have a day like today where you're drawing awareness? Right. Great question. And first and foremost, he was a former player, right? So it starts there. So he's part of the brotherhood, and it's a great opportunity for him to pour into to this generation by being present and having a chance to address them and speak. And then he's got a unique story, right? That can really open up some people's eyes and give people a different perspective on breast cancer. That I know it's very rare to have it in males, but he's one of the survivors, right, dealing with it. And but then also his spirit, just the spirit that he has, the passion that he has for this institution, this team, and then also the cause that he's fighting for. And then we have players in the locker room and staff members that have been affected directly, by breast cancer. And I know that we're talking about a football game, and that's what my profession is. That's what these young men are very passionate about. But at the end of the day, man, life is real, right? We pray that we walk away from the game every single day, and when we walk away, when we leave here in the next 30 minutes to an hour, man, we're going back to real life.
and that's real life. And so it's really an honor and a privilege to be able to play for something bigger than yourself. So you know, shout out to all the survivors out there. You know, I got to shout out Miss Kath. You know, she's like my mom. That's Coach Sweeney's wife. Y'all know that her journey with breast cancer. So I just want you to know that I see you, I love you, I appreciate you. But it's just a privilege to be able to play for something bigger than yourself.